Hi everyone, this is Lisa Marie from Artistry by Lisa Marie. Welcome to the studio. As always, links to this coloring page and list of all the colors I use will be in the video description. Alright, today I am coloring fur. I specifically chose one of my drawings of a long-haired cat because it kind of overlaps a bit with coloring fur, coloring hair, getting all the texture in there. So let's get started right off the bat. I'm using colored pencils and I am blocking in my shadows. So I like to say grayscale coloring as easy as 1, 2, 3. Dark, medium, light. Use a dark color, a medium color, and a light color when you're choosing your color palette, and you already are off to a great start to create that sense of volume. And here what I'm doing is I'm starting with my light or my dark color by blocking in the shadow. So I'm actually sectioning off the hair into the darker parts, and I'm just creating sections of darkness, or where the darkness is going to be in the hair. And because I like to play with my colors, of course, I'm actually layering another color on top of that dark color to create a specific value or hue that I really wanted this color to look like. And that's actually a great challenge. A great color challenge is to try to add 2 to 3 more colors, or specifically medium hues when you get there, and try to choose colors that blend together well and help add depth and texture to the hair. So start with your dark, medium, and light colors, and then add 2 or 3 more colors when you're coloring hair, and it'll really help add a sense of depth and make it a lot more visually interesting. When in doubt, look at a color wheel. If you look at a color wheel, it's very easy to find great inspiration for the next color that you want to add in your color palette. All right, now what I'm doing is I'm adding my medium tone. And I like to think of the medium colors kind of like a bridge. So it's connecting the darker colors, that darker section, all those dark sections I've already blacked off, and it's connecting them to the lighter sections. So it's the bridge between the dark and the light. The light sections I'm just leaving alone for now. I'm letting the white of the paper do its job. It's acting as just reminders of where the brightest sections are. So in a way, I'm still sectioning off all of the hair, but I'm slowly building up my value, slowly building up my colors, and I'm slowly pulling the darker sections out towards the lightest parts of the hair. I'm waiting for my next thing. There we go. So I wanted to talk about this next. So as you can see, I'm going back over those other areas, so the darker areas again. So it's a cycle. I'll go dark, then a little bit lighter, then go back to darker. And the way that I'm doing this is I'm not pressing too dark too fast. And that way I don't fill in the tooth or the texture of the paper. So that enables me to do all these layers of color over and over each other. The pencils that I'm using are Prismacolor pencils. They're fairly affordable, fairly well known, fairly good quality. Basically, I just feel like they're very accessible to a lot of people, and that's why I like to use them for these sort of videos and tutorials. Now, like I said, doing my little cycle. I did lighter, and now I'm pushing my darker shadows again. And if you watch, I'm applying the colors in strokes that go with the natural growth or the natural pencil lines of the hair or the fur. And this helps maintain that texture in the fur. I'm sticking with the shadows. I'm still staying with where the shadows have already been blocked out, but I'm applying the color in quick little strokes instead of scribbles, instead of going away from the natural flow of the hair. Every single time I add a layer, I'm adding them in the direction that the hair is growing. Just remember, don't press down too hard, too fast, or you will absolutely fill in the layer or the tooth of the paper. I like to print all of my coloring pages at home. I use a heavier cardstock paper just because that way it can kind of take, a bit more of a beating as I lay more and more colors on it. But I'll include all those details in the video description for you. I am slowly working my way towards the lighter sections. If you've noticed, the white of the paper is getting filled in a little bit more every time I go over with lighter colors. The ears are a perfect example of dark, medium, light. So I'll be using in the nose and in the ears dark, medium, and light pinks. But you'll see how I'm applying them where I block up my shadows in the ears and the nose, then the medium hues, and then the lighter hues. Dark, medium, and light. 1, 2, 3. It's all you need. All right, now I'm just sort of filling in that whiter part. I wanted the white around the mouth just to really stand. So again, there's nothing wrong with letting the white of the paper do its job and work. That is my favorite cream color. I use it all the time. What I'll do is I'll take the lightest color, in this instance, the cream color, and that's the lightest color in the color palette that I set up here. And I use that to go over the whitest parts, the white of the paper that's still showing. Now I'm going to go over that. And also I blend all of my other layers together. And what this does is it helps blend all of the layers. It softens all of the colors before, but because I did all that extra work with all those beautiful lines flowing over the fur, I'm not going to lose the texture of the fur. It's just softening and gently blending what I already have down. That's why you'll often see I have very short, nubby, light-colored pencils, because I often use the lightest color in my color palette as the blender. Some people like to use colorless blenders, and that's perfectly fine. That's a totally other look. I like to use the lightest color in the color palette that I've chosen. And it does a good job. The only trick, though, I would say is it's good to practice on a scrap piece of paper first, just to make sure the colors blend the way you want them to. And then for that extra little bit of pop, I take the white pencil. It's used sparingly, it's not used all over, but wherever I really want the whitest, lightest highlights to pop off the page, I'll go over with the white pencil at this point. Over the ears especially, because there's a lot more white hairs in those ears. And it's a cycle. Remember, I'll just go back and forth. There's no rule that says once you put down a pencil, you can never use it again. Then I go again back to my darkest colors. And what I want now is that beautiful contrast. I've built up my layers. I've built up my really striking highlights. Now I'm going to push the shadows just a little bit more. This will enhance little stray hairs, that sense of contrast. It'll help build the volume in the hair, those final touches, those final details that'll help add volume and just really enhance the movement and the texture. I want the striking contrast of those really bright highlights and those really dark shadows to help make the image look like it's gonna sort of pop or, come to life and, come off the paper. Still moving with the hair. Always move your color in the direction of the hair. Little stray hairs around the edges, because again, it's all about enhancing that sense of texture. And every animal, if you've got hair, you get stray hairs. Just adds to the realism. And now with the eyes and the nose, you'll see I'm pushing the shadows a bit more, and also around that jawline. I'm pushing the shadows. I'll stop, I'll take a look, I'll step back for a moment. That dark color that I'm using now is an indigo blue. I don't like to use just black. I think it's a little too flat. It doesn't really blend well with the other colors, doesn't really enhance the color palette. But a really nice dark blue, a really dark purple, a dark red, anything, a color that's really dark can really help bring a color palette to life, especially with hair. Now with the eyes, another great example, dark, medium, and light. I have dark, medium, and light hues. Difference here is that eyes are very responsive to lighting. So even though I still use my dark, medium, and light colors, I let the dark and the light stay close together without blending them very much. So you can see those strokes of dark, strokes of light colors right next to each other. I'm not trying to blend them. I know this is supposed to be all about hair and coloring fur, but I mean the eyes are there, so I'm gonna color them. And cat eyes are gorgeous, so why not have fun? Always push the shadows and the highlights. When in doubt, you're not sure if you should push it, push it. It's a coloring page. You're supposed to have fun. You're supposed to push yourself artistically. And with printable coloring pages, I mean, you can always just print the coloring page over again and try it again. Extra bit of white to help the gleam of the eye. Again, that nice contrast of the really dark and the really light side by side just helps bring it to life. Couple final touches because I just can't let well enough alone. I can linger over cat eyes all day, but that's going to be about it. I'm just going to add a little more texture to the outer edges of the fur to really make it pop off the white background. And that's it. Thank you for visiting the studio today. Be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the next video, and stay creative. Bye!